for some reason this was...
So this is always a big thing.
That's fine. That's, if you click that, see we can see our voice right now?
Yeah.
If you click on that,
It's
click on the
stirred
mic.
up stuff between Catherine and
Right, so in about 5 minutes you'll be ready, and she'll log in, and
she
it
feels
feels
like
good to go.
I'm not committing.
You're not committing.
And that I have something to fall back.
There's a lot of show about
And I don't want to let it go.
since they're
because it's a
saving
source
them,
of
we don't
revenue.
have to set it to private after.
We're planning on renting.
Oh,
So that's a source of revenue coming back in. And part of the plan is to sell that house, and then we have my house that we can go back to in about 7 years.
If you guys want to live there.
Well,
Oh, yeah, I didn't turn on
last
the...
year.
Oh, now we don't have a picture there.
Yeah.
You know, part of the thought is why get a big house?
Where's the button?
When you're not there, have to
Turn it on, straight at the top.
work. So, you know,
So,
because Vancouver is very expensive for housing also.
yeah, right here.
Oh.
Well, right now, yeah. Later, we can yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine, nice to see you. So, the road girl.
Oh.
Yeah, you survived?
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys didn't drive you nuts?
Well,
Well, that's another question, right? You
That's
survived.
actually
Let's start with the first question.
That goes both ways.
I want to know about her. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
Good.
Hi.
Marlene, this is Anne-Marie.
Hi, Anne-Marie.
Glad to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Come on in. Hi, look at you. You survived too.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Yeah, we're just back actually. It feels like it's been years that we've been back
Well,
because so much stuff has happened in the little time that we've been back.
Well, I'm sure that you're so on the road, you just wanted a place to learn.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, that was
Had to
in
hurt
a while,
you,
yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't blame her. I'm surprised
Yeah.
that she put up with you guys for that long.
Thanks for saying that. She really.
I never dare really say it.
Yeah, we just rolling together. Now I know why.
Seriously. Oh, wow.
Actually, yeah.
Like she's
it's
one,
hard for
she's
her.
one incredible person, I think.
It was hard for her. You
And yeah, and right now she's keeping on growing every
Well,
time
I
I
was
look at
gonna
her.
say, you're probably like, I don't know, my height or this much, I don't know. No, I think you're taller. You're taller.
Yeah, she's actually
You
taller
are
than you
taller.
are.
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at back.
Not if you look at the hair, but you have fuzzy hair.
No,
she's
your shoulders
taller.
are higher.
My shoulders are, but what in my head? She's got a long neck.
You're almost equal.
Almost equal?
Yeah.
Are they equal? No, I think I'm looking up to the top of her head.
You know what happens though when you get to be a certain height? It's time
Shrink.
to go to work.
Ooh.
She just spent a little more money at the, what's the Pebbles?
My
Pebbles
father
City
never
Pebbles?
went to work. My father's this high. He never needed to go to work. And Marie the same thing.
Yeah,
That's
right.
right.
I never had to work either. No, perfect. Yeah. So you nice to be tall in lots of ways, hey? But not for. Yeah, you've been working for a long time then, eh?
Yeah.
You'll never stop.
I'll never stop. Yeah. I said like osteoporosis.
Yeah, seriously.
Me too.
This is the computer.
Yeah. How's work going? Speaking of work.
It's been fabulous.
Yeah.
I'm
You
still on
were
my
at a
roll.
Congress or a conference.
That went well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
presentation. We missed your
Yeah, it all went well.
You did it? Good.
Everything went
You were doing some
thank you.
training there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, everything's going really, really well.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like a
Are
marathon.
you remember you wanted to start to go,
What a joke.
so that's not
You
happening?
kidding me? It went the other way. It ramped up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'll be rent until end of June, and then
Oh, yeah.
things go, in theory,
He's on for the summer.
yeah. But it's been super, super great. I'm having really fun.
It's crazy. There's new courses and lots of new stuff. And at first you thought you forgot too much.
I did.
I'm not one of those people actually. I think there's not push it all the way.
Is that right? I've had moments like that too.
I was-
To everything there's a season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm supposed to be on this education.
Hey, Joelle?
Yes.
Can you take a look at this? The picture's not coming up.
Are you gonna go downstairs, or are you gonna come sit in class?
It's
Right now,
okay.
Ron is here, he's with somebody until
The-
7.
that's-
You can have a choice.
Okay.
So there's something happening. The feed is
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
but
So
the
have a grab a seat. Tonight is, did they explain to you,
Because
tonight we're
you're
doing a
in,
webcast, so we're recording
not
it?
in record
Yeah.
mode, but in you're I think so. Let me just double check. We'll have
No,
to
he's really
quickly just. I'm not tall enough. I need no also.
Yeah, it's a hard little thing to say.
Yeah. It's not. It is. It should be okay now, I think.
Yeah, there it is.
So what it was, I'll show you what it was on. It was on VCR, and that's as if there's a tape player in this.
Oh, okay.
It's as if you want to play the tape that's in there.
Oh,
To record, you have to be on camera.
right in the middle.
Or
Put it to camera. Right to the front?
yeah, right to the front. It was on VCR. That's why you had it.
So, I don't know if you've been here for the webcast before, so if, just so you know, if you sit up here, you'll be able to see on camera. So you can't take your nose, well, you can if you want, but lots of people will watch you and make comments on it. So it's up to you.
So that's-
Personally, I like to
think
sit.
they only commented on
Maybe the only, I've had people comment, Marlene, you yawned 7 times during the webcast. Or, you look so tired, or you look bored. Give me a break. So I kind of don't sit up here.
Are you sitting there?
No, not since you said. No, I'll sit back here.
Can you log in, Marlene, and
Yes.
test it out?
Or we could be.
This here?
This is good.
I don't know.
How long ago did you, is it recording now?
Well,
Yeah, you
just.
Okay, I think it'll take a little bit of time before it comes on.
Oh, that's not out of your way.
Yeah, just in case something happens, I can be close to the camera. Oh, you're taking care of the camera?
Oh, okay.
Are you sitting here, Dave, or?
Nope.
No? Mary, are you managing it? Or who's managing it?
I can't remember
Managing
last
the
time.
band,
You go ahead.
Hey, Mary,
And, Mary, I can stay here.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Mary. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
I'm
I'm
Mary.
I'll be here, so if there's
I
anything,
can't remember any.
just, is that okay?
That's great.
Or
Yeah, no.
I'll let you do it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll stand on the side.
It shows upside down here, but it's actually broadcast the right side up.
Okay. Yeah.
It shows a mirror image there.
Why is that?
I don't know. The software doesn't,
So it takes what, about 10 minutes before it starts to show up?
it's fairly variable. I think it depends on how busy their servers are.
Okay, so we know that everything's set up right? Because we have 10 minutes.
And it's 6:48, so by.
But we know everything's set up right?
It looks like it. Live, it's broadcasting. You check the microphone?
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's
And,
muted.
One way to really check to make sure it's this one is to tap on it and to take a look if it's going up. Because sometimes, like in the past, sometimes you can switch on a microphone and not realize that it's not that one but another one.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
this has a microphone,
yeah.
this has a microphone,
Oh.
and this has a microphone.
We turned this one off, the one on the computer.
But that's
It's
just a
still-
mute.
Joelle has a
That's a mute for the speakers. It's different than the microphone.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So what I usually do is, you see where that green thing is over here?
We should turn it off. Just in
And
case we're-
I just do this.
Oh, yeah.
And if it spikes when I do this, and not when you do this, or not when you do this, then you know that this is the one that's active. Because it's spiking when I do this here.
Okay, but it looked like it did it when we did this too.
That's because it was really close.
Oh.
It's not spiking.
Mm.
It should be spiking now.
Yeah.
It's not spiking. So you know that this is a microphone that's active. If you just want to double check. So that's good. So did you mute the microphone or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the one that's in here.
Where is it now?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's not muted.
So Noelle, did you see any good horses on your trip?
Come on in anywhere. It'll take a few seconds before they just this on you.
I try to make sure that I add
Should I turn this light on?
No. Okay, we're good. You can move it again.
We have a number of people on, but I don't know where you're from, so I can't say hello you and hello you and hello you. Hello who's ever on. This is a a question from Pat Donahue's class. And this, we'll just wait for a second because it might be.
Have you got it unmuted?
It's, yeah, it's unmuted.
It's on there? So, there, phone is finished. So, this is from Pat Donahue's class. This is a question from Pat Donahue's class. We're going to have to close this off. Sorry, guys. Just close it off, Mommy. Okay. And this young lady says, in my class, I began to notice, she's a student, I began to notice that I was not thinking how I normally would in that class. She's attending a class at this time, obviously. What I was processing in real time, I was able to have a scope, or it's like a gap, of what was coming into my brain and what was leaving. Still, we don't quite get it, almost, but it's coming. Almost like a longer stretch out of short-term memory. When my professor was lecturing in front of the class, I was taking notes. What she was saying would enter my brain, and while I was writing it down, my notes, because it takes longer to write down notes than it is for a person to talk, I was able to remember everything she was saying so I could finish writing my notes, while also taking in everything that she was saying at the present time. So there was like two aspects of the brain were functioning at the same time. Now, the interesting thing is this. It was as if my hand was writing, was on in a different mind than my present mind. Everybody's okay with that? It was extremely bizarre. When it happens the first time, everything is bizarre. But when I sat down and thought about this experience, it was exactly how I process music. When you are playing with someone, you have to be listening to everything that that person you are playing with is doing, as well as being able to match what they are playing in the right time, as well as adding leads or parts that fit within the song. Everybody okay with that? So this musical flow that I got into while playing music with this singer, who was a singer that she was talking about, stuck with me while I was in class, and I was able to notice the same type of flow that I experienced with music, but with something that was not music. This is kind of normal. It is not weird, although it would be weird if you didn't have it and more energy was coming in, because what happens is and this is consistent, whatever is occurring in the brain in normal life, if music is a part of normal life, then how you process things in music can also happen in while you're living life. Where it happens is a different story. It can happen in different places. In her case, she's engaging with, paying attention to what she's doing, and also paying attention to what others are doing at the same time, so she can do what she needs to do when she is coordinating in the brain with another while she's playing music. Fair enough? In her classroom, the same thing occurred. She was doing what she needed to do, notes, but at the same, and she wasn't forgetting the line of words that were there. It's a link, it's a line of words, but at the same time, she was perceiving and remembering the line of words that the Prof was involved with, even though these two were not in sync. Do you understand? Now this is an interaction with energy. If you do it in one place, it can happen in other places. Same thing is true when you're engaged in life. For example, if you're used to engaging in a particular style in life with other people, if you become conscious internally about how you engage in life with you, suddenly you will watch yourself, be able to watch yourself, become aware of watching yourself, engaging with others from a place in your mind that is not aligned with not paying attention, but paying attention. So you are paying attention to what, if you begin to pay attention to how you function while functioning in life, you suddenly become aware of how others function while they're engaging with life, but also at the same time, you watch what you're doing from a different perspective. It's not a reflex to do, it's a conscious awareness of what you're doing. Now, it would seem that doesn't make sense in a way, because all of you might think you know how you function automatically when you're dealing with life, but you don't. You do everything, or much of it, unconsciously, reflexively, as if the dialogue is all set up and it's reflexively engaging, and you express it, and it's fine, it's great. However, you are not consciously aware of your speaking in the second you're speaking, and the words that you're speaking in that second that you're speaking. Once you begin to be aware of that, you begin to be aware of how others do the same thing as you do, and you begin to be aware of what you're doing, and you may not agree with what you're doing, or even what you're saying. There is a process of numbing that goes on in the reflex expression that occurs. The trick in this is to become consciously aware, like this person did, of what was happening while she was doing it. She was writing notes. She could remember every single word that was being scripted by the professor. But that was one part of her head, remembering what she had said while she was saying other things. So two aspects of the brain were functioning at the same time, and she was conscious of it occurring. That ultimately will come in handy with one of the other questions that are being asked, because what happens is, here you have individuality, right here, in a reflex mode. And that reflex mode is ingrained. You've been practicing it for years and years and years and years and years. There's defenses in it. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there that is engaging, kind, loving, defending about all kinds of stuff, also reflexive. But it's out of you, and you don't even pay attention to what's going on until you notice something in it, as opposed to paying attention to how the style is functioning. This is style. What I've been asking people to consider doing is becoming conscious, very conscious of this mode of engagement by watching it and seeing how the style expresses itself. Neither defending the style or putting it down. No judgment, just recognition. In a kind of a way, you'll be watching it exactly the way you watch other people engaging with you. If you bother to pay attention to what they're saying, of course. And that is a conscious effort. It's a very valuable thing to consciously pay attention to what they're saying so that it will, in a kind of a way, reverse and allow you to pay attention to what you're saying and doing. Sometimes you have to do it exactly opposite to get the effect, to get you to help you to understand what's going on in you or not going on in you. So you can watch others very clearly and pay close attention to their emotional fluctuations, the music of the individual style, the way they engage, a style related to their personal upbringing primarily, and knowing full well that it's reflexive, and they are not doing this consciously. Therefore, you can then watch you and how you engage and recognize that you do not do this consciously, you do this mode of delivery reflexively or unconsciously. But once it's out there, seems right, seems to be the right thing to do because it's familiar, and you do not know exactly what you have said or done. You believe you know, but you do not know. You have followed a style that is literally, every time it's expressed, it cocoons itself or protects itself, and it allows itself to be validated by you, again, unconsciously. In the process of handling more energy coming in to you, there is an ethic involved. This ethic is an ancient ethic. It relates to a personalized version of a truth. The recognition of truth being processed as opposed to a very particular right thing at a higher state is extremely valuable, because you then, being consciously aware of how you function, will know it's a relative truth. What you're expressing is a relative truth. You are not being actually truthful. You're expressing yourself exactly the way you think you need to for the purpose of engaging with your right or your wrong. It's how you see things. This is your style. This is your reflex to be and do in a place that enables you to be comfortable with how you normally do things unconsciously. How you normally do things unconsciously. To engage with a kind of higher vitality or increased higher level flow, it is helpful tremendously to be able to watch how you do this. And you will notice when you're doing it consciously, you will not always agree with how you are doing it, or even the words you use, or even what you think is real or not real. Now this is process, so from time to time you will agree with how this is, and from time to time you will not agree. In those modes of practicing, seeing the you inside, you will be gauging internally how you respond to what you're saying. It's the only place that you can gauge how you respond. Because if you are watching internally, you will notice your physical body or your emotional disposition is reacting and responding to not only what you're saying, but to what the other person is reacting to or responding to in relationship to how you are dialoguing. And from here, you will not judge it. From this place where you can watch, you will not judge it. You will notice things consciously. When you do that, you are creating a place that will not only remain this small block of engagement that was previously here. It's a bit like the golden mean. It broadens out like this and covers the whole of the tempo, T-E-M-P-O, that you love and hope to remain involved with it forever and ever and ever because it's so good right now. And that stimulates the realization in this domain that you don't agree with that statement. And it's not a negative disagreement. It's saying, no, just a minute now. I don't think I agree with that. And all of a sudden you realize this is process. You can, from time to time, do something rather well and honestly not agree with how you engaged. And the next time, you're back in the reflexive mode. And you reflexively engage. And you don't catch it until it's 2 days hence, 3 days hence, 10 minutes hence. And then you catch it. And you wonder about it. You say, my goodness. Even that wondering is engaging with an aspect of looking as if you're just curious about what just went on. A little while ago, but you're just curious. So there's no negating in here, no judging in here, and no elevation. Oh my God, I really fixed their wagon. Yeah, that was the right thing to do. No. From this level, you watch and you recognize, my God, this person is similar to me. I do this stuff reflexively, as well as I catch things consciously. And when they do the same thing, I'm quick to respond reflexively to defend against that kind of interaction. And I am doing it as well. You cannot see that you do it until you can watch you doing it and know that that's a reality. And then you can have movement in that process where you don't always have to defend the undefendable. Your engagement with how right you are or how wrong you are, or depending on your style. The most wonderful thing about this in the example here is it proves one thing, or it appears to prove one thing. Good metaphor for this. If you catch on in one place, you will catch on in another. This, she was not in charge of it. She was out of control in this. Meaning, not out of control, but it was happening and she was not doing it consciously. But she was able to see it consciously as she was doing it. So it appeared to be two things going on at the same time. And when you play music in a group with others, it's a team effort. And you listen. When someone goes in this direction, you go in that direction with them. You don't sit back and say, oh, they played the wrong chord, or they did this wrong, or this is not, oh, so that person, if you have a good group, you play, you shift, and go with the singer, or the lead guitarist, or whatever it may be, or the trumpet player, or the sax player, or the clarinet. You do that simply because you're a team. You're engaged in a way that relates to being able to see what you're doing and what others are doing at the same time. That's a team relationship. You have many aspects internally, individually, within you. tremendous amounts. You're engaged with almost every reflex emotion that happens to exist on our planet in anybody else. You use them slightly differently. Externally, I'm sorry about that. Externally, or internally. With some people, it's a combination. With some people, very extroverted people, it's externally. Everything is external. There's no deep stuff. Here, a tremendously introverted person is all internal. Big stuff going on inside. Never hits the external world because the training is don't let it hit the external world. Others will judge you. They will not see you as a person to engage with according to the rules of the style. The rules of the style are dominant. Only if you are not watching or considering it valuable enough to perceive. Now, why would you bother considering it valuable to perceive the style? But here's the reason. As you grow spiritually, energy comes in quite a bit stronger than what you're used to. And you're learning how to deal with this. Reflexively, yes, and also consciously. Very important thing. If you are learning consciously, this will help you, this conscious seeing part that I was talking about originally, and the broadening of it, and then subsequently the inclusiveness of the personality orientation and the style orientation for the purpose that allows you to perceive energy flowing through the personality or the physical form, emotional form, mental form, and the influence of the coming together of these integrated systems called a personality that's broader even, that has a relative balance. You will be able to perceive that in yourself, that flow, in every aspect, in the territorial aspect, at the root center, in the willfulness of the gonad center, in the engagement with the solar plexus that is emotionally tending to act, whether it's emotional or not emotional, the engagement with aspects of sympathy, compassion, linking with the heart center, the higher resonant structure that relates vibratorily to higher planes, ultimately at the throat center, the brow center that initially deems to be intelligent and ultimately engages with higher planes and can visit the world of unconscious mental structure that broadens out and allows the higher mind to enter into that brow center from a different domain, and also the interaction with the crown center that ultimately enables broader influx of flow past and beyond any personality engagement or thrust that is natural and normal on our planet. But you are still engaging and watching this happen within you, thus a conscious pause begins to express itself so that you can take note of everything that is going on while recognizing, while recognizing what truly is going on without. This structure then links up and fuses ultimately with the personality. So you have the soul and the personality consciously fusing, and the recognition of that soul is apparent internally, and the engagement with that flow or soul flow is expressant externally as well as internally, and you begin to understand the purpose and reason why we exist here on this plane. An engagement with this level provokes a concept or an idea that relates to ethics. And in fact, you begin to get slowly a kind of understanding about an ethic that hasn't got much to do with right and wrong, but has to do with an understanding of deep level engagement with higher planes. You can only do what you can do here, or what you will allow here in the personality orientation. But ultimately, you will be watching this from an aspect of the soul's perspective. So if you construct a form within you for watching you and others, and knowing full well that they are similar to you, and you are similar to them, you reach a state where compassion begins to thrive, where you truly recognize and understand the similarities between you and others. And you and others meaning actually a perception of where the soul is flowing through you and from which center or funnel or window or doorway, chakra, zephyra, these systems are operating through. You get the idea ultimately. Just because these things are linked doesn't mean you're fully grown. It means you can be fully charged for the personality's perspective because it still relates to belief. As you are building the way you believe things should be as a spiritual being, until that can be watched within from a soul's perspective, you will still be in the land of personal belief. The ethic from this territory is different than the ethic from this territory. This one relates to this level of engagement at this plane. This level relates to a different level or a different plane of relationship that relates directly to soul flow, if you want to call it, or universal flow, whatever you want to call it. So the issue here is that this person has the potential to engage with two parts within them. If they can continue to do that, ultimately they will begin to perceive energy flowing through them because they are watching for anything and everything that they perceive. They are really receptive to perception. Hope this makes a little bit of sense to this person or to Pat. I moved into partly Deborah's question. In Nashville, I asked about the difference in the grounding after meditation. When we were closing off, you said it was, at the time, that it was actually an ethical question. And since we were just coming out of our meditation, I did not take notes. Can you explain again what you meant by regarding the ethical question? When you're dealing with these levels of engagement with consciousness, think about all of our earth plane being involved with personality reactions, personality senses of value, senses of importance, senses of belief. These hang in the air. Usually it's astral air, highly charged emotionally, very much involved with belief systems, and those energies are profoundly strong. If you do some balancing, in other words, if you're wide open during meditation, what you want to do is bring that into a state where there's flow going through you, and which allows you to discharge flow that's going through you and close down a little bit so that you can handle more energy going through you and make sense of things that you might look at and find out that they don't make sense to you. You thought they did, because that was a relative belief, but you begin to have ideas about meaning being broadened. Meaning being broadened. within you. So that the context of balancing and grounding, and this is twofold. We use a particular system. It's you could say it's complicated. It's not really. We use energy to ground, but also at the same time we use energy to open. When we're coming out of meditation, we're trying to use the heart center in conjunction with the crown, the throat center, and the brow center to send energy to a higher point, to construct a form that can handle better an internal flow of consciousness. And then we move to discharge and ground the system as we're coming out after that. So we use a twofold system. We're trying to build the system up and then softly close it down. And this is very valuable. Ethical in the sense then of preparing ourselves to handle more flow and not just moving to handle more flow before we're prepared. So preparation is valuable. The same as process is valuable. I once had a psychology professor with the Adlerian school who never hated to hear the idea of process. Couldn't stand it. It was either here or here. Had a tendency to be a little bit cognitive. So I listened to that and I said, wow, it's really interesting. I wonder what he really gets annoyed about in process. That's worth looking at. Process is very valuable in the sense, unless you have an idea that you have it all right now, and everything is right in your mind, and you don't want to change anything. It's a legitimate position. Makes sense. However, if you want to move beyond the place where you are and extend your boundaries into a spot that takes in a broader perspective no matter what you think, then process has to be a word that is valuable to you. And the construct here is, hold on, I'm so sorry about that, I've got to use these things. The construct here being an ethical question in relationship to meditation, it is valuable to close down your meditations. Valuable because you leave yourself open, and ultimately you will be more open as you walk around. So it's important to remember how to use the life mat, how to use energy on a perception that you have about being open in a way that you don't like, or it's not comfortable for you, or it causes you to be a little bit more intense. Then life mat is a very good thing, and that's a transmissional image. It's just a triangle. So sorry. It's a triangle. That's what it is. Right hand, left hand. And energy moves. If the hands are open, energy moves like this. Moves. And you ask for energy to come in to help. Energy that moves is yours. This comes out of you. And also, energy comes through to be of service to the system that you are carrying around with you all the time. So you're doing this, it's kind of a self-healing process, which is really valuable. And it's a make sense process. You're trying to figure stuff out so that you're broadening out your way of engaging with you, as opposed to, if you feel desperately insecure, you'll not want to go anywhere that is confusing, because you'll want to stay in this one place that is less confusing. It makes you feel better to do that. So it's not about right and wrong, it's about the process of making you feel better. Be comforted by that idea, but then slowly attempt to go beyond that comfort zone just a little bit at a time. You don't have to push it. Energy will push it. You don't have to do very much. Live life. Try to be happy. Try to engage with the joy of life, because there is a lot of joy in life. Besides other things, there's joy as well. So, and then Deborah asks, And this may be related, but how does the use of alcohol and drugs affect the flow of transmission? What is the ethical implications related to that issue? As you begin to open more and more and more, it becomes a dilemma. There is sort of protective webbings in between these chakras or centers or Zephyra. They're not seen by everybody. Thank goodness for that, otherwise we'd have to deal with a whole lot more. But the thing is that this alcohol and drugs thins the webbings that you have in terms of self-protection, in terms of understanding. It helps you to not understand. It numbs you. You can't make sense of things. Your reflexes get stronger and stronger. And you validate them deeper and deeper. And nothing then becomes more right than what you can come up with. Now, when I said this, I meant every word, but I want to add a feature. Your body is made of tremendous amounts of chemistry. You have drugs in you, unbelievably so. The more you engage with those drugs, the more, like adrenaline, for example, the more you ache to have more adrenaline. You can be hooked on seeing everything negative in the world and judging it harshly. Because if you've had any academic training, that's what you're taught. You know, you're taught to assess and judge. And that means you're more superior to everybody else. Try it a different way. Realize that every time you increase the adrenaline, energy comes in to increase the adrenaline. So every time you increase the adrenaline, energy comes in to increase the adrenaline. What you are doing then is making pathways larger in a reflexive manner that loads what must be right versus wrong. Because it's a reflex to defend positional relationships in life. Positional relationships and placing relationships of the personality. This is not negative. This is how the system has been set up to survive. Now, as a human being, a mature human being, relatively speaking, you're trying to make sense of this and try to broaden that out or soften it down so that you can look at it with intelligence as well as reflexive response to draw adrenaline into the picture that only validates what you believe is true. This is worth thinking about. It's doing very similar things, in fact, to drugs, to alcohol. In fact, if you act out in one particular manner versus another, you're also intending the same way. If you're figuring this out, you'll catch on to this. You'll say, oh my God, when something comes up, I have this response. The more I have that response, the more that response gets larger in me. It's a reflex. If I do not watch it and interfere with it, and do internal dialogue that says something that easy does it now, Ron, you don't have to do it. You can slow that down a bit. What is this about? Asking some really important questions of yourself. If you do this, then you will get answers if you are sincere about it. Got to be sincere. Got to tell you something. Having a lot of juice in here supports the need not to be sincere. It supports the remaining of sameness. Think about that and you'll understand why. Because you will feel better by walking the same road that you walked before. If you're able to watch that, you will not agree with that last statement. That's why watching it is valuable and highly ethical. And it's the thing, basically, that Socrates talked about 2,500 years ago. This is not new, but it takes us a little while to catch on. Not negative, just we don't get this stuff explained to us. Even when it's explained to you, doing it is different than theoretically understanding it. So there's an action provoking system that is valuable, but not reflexively valuable, but consciously valuable. If you have a conscious awareness and you engage with that which is going on within, you say, whoa, 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 just a minute now. That's a conscious engagement. That is valuable. If you do it any other way, it's reflexive, it will not be helpful. And it will be a determining point in broadening out how right you would be and how you can defend your position exceedingly strongly. Not negative, just natural in the world related to our species. And perhaps in other species too, who knows? Okay. I think I answered Chris's question last time. You don't think I did?
I'm just going to ask you something.
Okay.
I think.
It says, Chris has two questions. Would you help me to gain some understanding to a perception that I'm having while in meditation and while asleep? In both cases, the energy is gentle, first of all. I'm still meditating and aware that I'm sleeping. When I become aware that I'm being asked a question or being asked to observe something and being taught about it, whatever it is, the awareness is brief, meaning I don't have a full understanding of the content or who's teaching me. All right? There are just glimmers of the content and that it is happening. I have not had the presence of mind to life map it while it is happening, and only do so after it has occurred and when I remember. Just keep doing that, Chris. It's fine. I'm not able to hold the awareness once I become conscious of it. Can you talk about what is occurring is the best course of action to life map it and let it unfold? And I say, do both. The business of being taught, whatever you're teaching, look, I don't care. If you're listening to this, I would ask you to try and think about what I'm saying and think about how that fits for you, in you, and see if you can get it to work for you, because you're working with you. You are the one that's valuable in this. Not your personality's view of the world. You're the valuable thing. Your personality is a system that engages with existence and life on this planet. You will not have this form with you because your focal point currently is on your bodies. Your physical mind, your physical emotion, your physical engagement with others. That's where your focal point is. You think about that. You don't have to agree with it, but think about that. And then allow yourself to wonder about this business that I'm talking about becoming conscious of watching you function. and beginning to realize how very valuable this is. Because you are watching how you're functioning, therefore, you're not watching to judge it or negate it, you're watching to understand how you are engaged with this form. By doing that, you are creating a system that you can use when you're not here. Also, you can become aware of yourself on another plane. The plane of the soul. Not only the emotional plane or the mental plane or the physical planes extended, but the plane of the soul's interaction with consciousness. With you as a conscious being. Not an unconscious being only. With respect to this question, I wrote some of this stuff down because I didn't think I was going to get to it last time. I said, teaching will appear in, the teaching that she gets will begin to appear in life. It'll be subtle. Whose teaching is not as important, but may reassure the person that, I suppose, if the person was dressed up in a monk's uniform, that would reassure the person that the material would be right. See, we have these kinds of minds. If it was a monk's, a Buddhist uniform, we would assure that the information must be truly, really good. If it was a high potentate from wherever, I don't care where, whatever belief system you have, we will feel reassured that it is of some significant value. Therefore, we are significant. It is the language of the style. Now, knowing Chris the way I do, excuse me, Chris, it's probably a good thing that you couldn't perceive that, because it gives you a hint so that you can recognize that that wouldn't be such a big deal for you.
What wouldn't be such a big deal?
Who it was wouldn't be such a big deal for you. Have an encounter with the material the best you can. Check out the meaning, see if it makes sense to you. If it helps you in life, good. It'll be a part of your engagement with learning. Don't worry about who's doing it. Use the life map. Any negativity or any positive being will not be upset at you praying for it or asking for help for it. Think about this. Because you're asking with sincerity and honesty. You're not asking you some elevated place. And I ask for help for you. Blah, 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 blah. Nah, it's nonsense. Ask from sincerity. And no higher being would be upset about that. Negative beings would be upset about that. They don't want to be helped spiritually. They want to maintain the engagement that they have already because they know they're right. Now that, to me, is not negative. Usually those beings are in a process of movement and they haven't realized that what they're giving forth is not as spectacular as what they might believe. By the way, same is true of anybody. I know, for one thing for sure, you will engage with teaching beyond what I teach when you can handle more energy. I'll not be able to teach this. I'll have to teach something else. Or if I'm not around to teach it, somebody else will be teaching something else. But it won't be because they're a great teacher. It'll be because they can handle the flow. And you're ready to handle it too. All the other stuff is just baloney. Superior teaching blah blah. It's just blah blah. It's all it is. It's nonsense. It took me 40 years to be able to teach like this. It'll take me another 40 years to be able to teach better, probably. So I do the best I can with what I got. You do the best you can with what you've got. That'll be hard enough. If you're sincere. If you're not sincere, what's it matter? You'll find out some other way, some other methodology, and you won't even know you're not sincere. So it's not a negative thing.
That's good.
So it won't be an issue. When it is an issue, then you will move to not be insincere. That'll be the way it is. So second question. My gosh, we're not finished here. Sorry, Chris. On Sunday we discussed listening and communicating authentically. That's what we're still talking about. I'm very curious about this and would like to increase my understanding of what is really being asked for learning to listen at a deeper level. Okay, we've been talking about learning to listen at a deeper level all along. This area here, and as I said, it's very interesting. It looks like the golden mean. Anybody understand that? First you have square, then you have a larger square, then you have a larger square, and there is a that's listening at a deeper level, because you're not looking and you're not listening to find out what's wrong and what's right. At that level, you're looking to see what's going on. There's no assessment or judgment there. There is perception and recognition. It's more a vibrational thing. Okay. Oh, that's what I do. My God, I never knew I did that. Wow. Oh boy. Okay. I do that. Let's see if I can see that more often. Let's see if I can do it a little bit differently. Slightly differently. You are listening in relationship to the internal structure related to those chakras, or Zephyroth or centers, whatever you want to call them, or fireballs, and you're looking to find the authenticity in you, whether it be for your own self-interest or not. You will see it's for your own self-interest, and you will see when it's not. Don't make an issue of either one. Do it differently. Do it in a more balanced, kind of gentler way. So you can see better. So you can see better. That higher level does not judge. We think it does, but it doesn't. It helps us to perceive better. That's learning. Does a deeper understanding come when one is willing to ask yourself deeper questions about your reactions and perceptions, and when you are able to honestly listen to the answer internally? Kind of, yet at the same time, it's really valuable. Oh, I wrote it down. Remember, neither right nor wrong, just perceiving helps with deeper understanding. And be able to see and watch while living out you. Energy, remember, follows attention, thought, emotion, and increases awareness internally. The more you do this, the more awareness you will have internally. Not to judge yourself, just to see what's going on. And it is insightful because it stimulates compassion and a deeper understanding about the fact that others do similar things, and they cannot restrain themselves from doing the them that they project. And you are beginning to see that you are projecting a them, a you, that you are reflexively engaging with and attempting to do it softer and softer so that you can make sense about the fact that you don't necessarily agree with those things that you are doing, because you were previously not aware of them, and you built a system that validates how you must engage with the world to be respected and of value according to the world. In here, respected and of value in relationship to the soul's entry or that spiritual flow. So you're trying to live in two worlds at the same time. You must have conscious awareness to do this. I hope that covers both Chris's question, Deborah's question, and the third one as it relates to Pat's student. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. And hopefully we can get some sort of copy of this. Good night, everybody.